We're live again, and my name is Christine Tadhope, and I'm the founder of UPvisor, chartered accountant, all of those things. Hopefully by now you are familiar with my face if you've been tracking with us during the month of June and a little bit in June, but mostly in July. And this month it's been quite a wild ride going through July. I don't know how you've been feeling, but we're on the last day of the month, which means that we are 7 months down, not too many left to go in the year. We passed the halfway mark, way past by now, and maybe it's leaving you with a sad, or maybe you're saying happy farewell to July. It's all good. That's what we're here for. We're here to celebrate the victories and to mourn the losses, but ultimately just to learn more from the experiences that we've had and stuff like that. So I was just wondering, how has July been? And if you have been tracking with us during the month of July, you would have seen that the end of June we did your month in review, and we said, okay, cool, so we want to see what has happened during the month. What have we learned? Are there any goals that we can set as a result thereof? And I want to encourage you to revisit that again. It's really important to make sure that we do these reviews on a monthly basis and really just start coming to grips with what is happening in our lives. Make sure that you're not just going through the motions, but you're actually learning things and you're implementing new things in your personal life and your business life to make sure that you are performing at optimal peak performance, because that's what we want, right? So let's just think back to everything that we have done during the month of July. And I actually had to go back and see because there was so much happening. But during our hashtag Finance Friday sessions, the first Friday in July, we did a 90-day plan. And there we basically started setting some goals, not just for 5 years down the line or 2 years or even 1 year, but looking literally at what is happening in the next 3 months. So July up until September, what were your plans and your goals for those 90 days? And have you been revisiting them consistently throughout this period? And are you at a point where you can actually tick off some of those goals and some of those baby steps that you had set out for yourself? So do you go check out that first session in July, but also the last session in June, and make sure that you're doing that monthly review. At the last session in June, we released a special little worksheet that you can use for your month in review. So if you have not done that yet, you can go check that out, go download the worksheet, and just go think about how July has gone. Okay, so that was the first week of July. Then after that, we had a look at how you can potentially pivot your business. And COVID-19 has obviously been a challenge for a lot of business owners. So we have to make sure that we are pivoting and we are keeping up with what is happening in the industry, what's happening with our customers, and just figuring out how we can meet these customers and meet their needs in a new way and in a different way. So go check out that one. That was our second one for July, and we spoke about things like not just changing up your messaging, but really thinking about how you can change your products and services, but also potentially changing your target market altogether. Okay, then in the third week, we spoke about the impact that going online has on every single part of your business. And when we think about going online, we're normally just like, okay, so maybe the way that we meet will be different. Or maybe it just means getting a website up and running or making sure that you're present on social media. But it's really more than that, right? It impacts every single aspect of your business, from your customers to your employees to the processes and systems that you have in place. It has a really far-reaching impact. So we spoke a lot about those sort of things in the third week. And then last week, we spoke about the challenges that come from working from home. And that was a really interesting session. We spoke about potatoes and costumes and even big words like synchronicity and asynchronicity. So if you would like to figure out what those massive words mean, but also why we spoke about potatoes, definitely go check out last week's session. Okay, so that is everything that we had during the month of July. So it's been quite the ride, right? And if you have been able to take at least a little bit of practical application out of each of those sessions, I believe that you will be in a better place to face what is coming during August and the rest of the year. So all of the conversations that we've had up until this point has prepared us for today. And at the end of last week, I said I would like to talk to you about how our routines in our business can help to improve our efficiency. So, why routines? Maybe let's start there. So firstly, routines help us to automate some of those tasks that we don't like doing, right? Think about it, or you don't probably even think about it. Getting up in the morning, showering, getting ready, brushing your teeth, maybe flossing, hopefully flossing. Those are not tasks that came easily to us originally, and maybe they're something that can sometimes still cause you some stress, like having to drag yourself out of bed in the mornings. But having a routine in place helps you to make sure that you're ticking all of the boxes and you're just like running on in an automated fashion on automatic. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, so that is something that really helps us to just be able to lock into that subconscious mind, and that just keeps going with it. Okay. Then routines can also help us to transition between home life and work life, especially if you're working from home, and also from work back to home life at the end of the day. Okay, so bear that in mind, we'll get back to that. And then it also helps us to make sure that we are consistent in our efforts. So if you think about, for example, making sure that you are checking your Facebook for business purposes and not for personal purposes, maybe you need to bring that in as part of your routine to make sure that you're consistently engaging. You've got this little checklist of people that you need to connect with, and you're just doing that on a regular basis. Making that part of your routine makes it so much easier to remember. And then it can also help us to stay motivated. Now, the reason why I say that is if we start grouping similar types of tasks together, it helps us to be more efficient in the way that we are spending our time. Okay, and then because of that, we are able to stay motivated. It's not a case of constantly jumping from one task or one type of task to another. Just think about how many times you jump between looking at an email and then Facebook and then client work, and it's just like all over the place. And by the end of all of that jumping around, you forget what you were busy with in the first place, and you're just like over it, right? So if we can put a routine in place to make sure that we are grouping similar tasks together and thinking about the mind space we need to be in to make that possible, it just helps to increase our efficiency so much more. So the two types of routines that I suggest that you start implementing in your business and your personal life is firstly a start-up routine, which means as you're starting out your day, what are those tasks that you're going to do there? And then the opposite of that would be the shutdown routine. So at the end of your workday, what are those things that you have to make sure that you get done as you transition back into home life? So if you're trying to think about what should be in each of those groups of routines, then I want you to think about the following things as you think through some tasks. Think about tasks that you find you spend too much time on, partly because you're jumping around a lot, right? Things that you need to do on a regular basis that maybe you're not doing as regularly as you should. Things that you tend to avoid or procrastinate. For me, that's probably, if I'm honest, social media. Because I don't like having to spend time on social media. Not because I don't like connecting with you, just because it's not my strength, okay? So think about those sort of things. And then the last thing I want you to think about is to think about the tasks that really would help you to have big wins, giant wins, if you were just in a position to be able to do them consistently. Maybe they are small tasks, but if you put them together, those tiny habits, put them together, keep doing them consistently, they could have a massive impact on your life and on your business. So these are the types of tasks you can start thinking about incorporating in a startup and a shutdown routine. Now, your routines don't have to be hours long. They could just be 15 minutes, if that's what you decide that you want to allocate, or it could be an hour and a half. Okay, so I'm going to talk you just through my routines just to give you an idea of what it could potentially look like for you. Now, obviously it's not a one size fits all. It really depends on where you are at in your business and what's happening at home. Okay, so what my startup routine looks like after I've showered and gotten ready and whatever. It'll start for me with quiet time and journaling, because I find during that time of working through maybe some affirmations or thinking about what lies ahead in the day and just getting my mind right, that helps me to focus and to be grounded and to make sure that I am at the optimal performance point and at peak capacity to make sure that I can get a lot of stuff done. Okay, so that's my first part. Then I start actually planning for the day, maybe reflecting on yesterday, what were the things that went well, what should I improve on, and how can I then make that happen in today. Then from there, you might have heard of the concept of having a big 3 list of tasks that you want to complete or goals that you would like to achieve. Now that can apply for a day, for a week, for a month, okay? But I make sure that I think about what are those 3 things that I need to make sure that I get done today to make sure that today is successful. Be careful of putting too many things on that list because otherwise it just gets overwhelming and you end up just not getting to everything. And then I normally try, I'm not always successful with this, but I try and do some time tracking for my previous day because I like making sure that I'm taking responsibility for how I spend my time, being accountable, tracking how much time I'm spending on clients, on private stuff, on admin, because that just helps me have a holistic view of what's happening in my business. And then my last task before I actually jump into whatever work that I have for the day is to stack my inbox. And if you have not heard about stacking your inbox, you're missing out, like totally missing out. I found this tool just during lockdown and it's been amazing. So if you would like to find out more about how to stack your inbox, which will help you to overcome that email monster we sometimes have, come check us out on Instagram next week, Thursday at 1 p.m. and we'll be talking about that. Okay, so check that out. But with some of these tasks that I have, even though they're part of my routine, I sometimes find that I need to delay some of them a little bit, or maybe end up not doing them at all, if there are massive tasks that are urgent that I need to get to. But I've realized that when I do that, I feel completely out of whack. And it feels like the day just I can't get my teeth into it and I can't get it going well. And in effect, the day ends up being a little bit less productive than it potentially could have been. So keep that in mind as you are building up your routines. How are you going to compensate for something else popping up? Maybe you now suddenly have a meeting that you didn't know about, or there's some urgent client work that needs to be done. How are you going to handle those during your startup routine? Obviously, it depends on what time you start that routine as well. Okay, so that's how I start my day. Then towards the end of the day, the things that are on my shutdown routine list, which I'm still busy desperately trying to make it a habit, is to make sure that I'm interacting on Facebook and LinkedIn. It's catching up on my time tracking that I might have missed out on. It'll be reviewing my inbox before shutting down so that I sort of have an idea about what have I not gotten to so that I can start planning for the next day. Which then leads me to the next point about thinking through my tasks for next day. Now, there are sometimes things that happen overnight, which is why I think about it tonight as well as tomorrow morning, and I actually put hard and fast plans in the next day. But it's good just to start mulling that over because your brain starts to solve those problems, right? And then try to tidy my desk, and then I transition into home time, which for me often is by making supper, and that just helps me to get out of workspace and back into home space. So as I've said, I'm not always good with following through on these, but I know that if I was able to do them more consistently, that I would be so much more productive in my time. And I always know that I can feel more prepared for my day if I have made sure that I'm at least sticking to that startup routine. So I would love to know what your routines are, and I see that there are a few people watching us, so hello, thank you for joining us as we're talking about routines today. I would love to know what routines are you implementing in your business, in your home life. What are the things that are working for you, that are maybe not working for you, and what are those things that you wish you could do more consistently to make sure that you're actually productive and efficient with the time that you have on hand. Because if you think about it, we only really have 8 productive hours during the day, if you're thinking about traditional work hours. 8 hours goes quickly if we haven't planned them well. So just committing to a little bit of time in the beginning of the day or at the end of the day really helps us to make sure that we are getting the most out of the rest of our day. Okay, so remember the whole point of routines would be to automate, to create efficiencies, and to get out of that, oh, I don't feel like doing it today, that headspace, right? Because if we're in that headspace most of the time, and if we're constantly using willpower to do the things that we don't like doing, it's just going to be a drag, right? So let's see how we can start grouping tasks together that are potentially time suckers, and just think of new ways to use your time more effectively. Okay, so I would love to hear about what you have been up to in your business, and maybe working from home has been a real challenge and you've had to figure out how to put new routines in place, because working at the office obviously has different types of routines than you would have at home. So do share that with us. I would love to know. And then during August, we will be talking a lot more about productivity as well, because ultimately productivity leads to profitability. So you will see a little bit of overlap happening in Instagram. Every Thursday at 1 p.m. we'll be talking a lot about productivity, and then on Facebook I'll be delving a little bit more deeper into understanding what does productivity mean in our business. Which leads me to the next point. From next week onwards, we will still be here at 1 p.m. on a Friday, but maybe slightly differently. So keep your eyes peeled for announcements coming out along those lines. But we are still super excited to be connecting with you and just hearing what you are up to and what's working, what's not working. Okay, and then let's see what else is on my list here. So today is the 31st of July. And if you have been watching our social media pages, our emails, we're all over the place. If you have been tracking with that, you will know that today is the last day to qualify as a founding member to join our UPvisor Training Academy. For you to be able to access founding member status, you need to have accessed at least one of our 3 webinars that we did during the course of June and July. Now, these 3 webinars up until the end of today with its resources are available to you completely for free. Okay, the first one was all about unlocking the secrets of your income statement, which was really cool. The second one was about getting more cash into your business pocket. And the third one, which was the last one, was all about why budgeting is not a curse word, but cutting costs is. That was budgeting and expense management. Super great value webinars there, with associated resources, worksheets, and all sorts of things that you can actually go practically implement some of the things that we mentioned during the webinar. So at the end of today, i.e. 23:59 tonight, we will be removing those resources. You will no longer be able to access them for free. But if you have accessed them before the end of today, then you will qualify as a founding member. Now, what does that really mean? So the founding members, you get access to our awesome training academy, which is a subscription-based model from August onwards. And what you will get is, firstly, we'll have a content webinar every month, which for August will be all about digging deep into your balance sheet, because sometimes we don't really know what that means, right? And if you can use that in conjunction with the first 3 webinars that we did, you will have a powerhouse of information that you can use to make sense of what's happening in your business and start making really valuable and the right financial strategic decisions. Okay, so that will be coming up in August. But so we'll have one content webinar, and then we will also have the opportunity to have an application workshop, which is where I give you the chance to ask me specific questions related to your business. We'll have some hot seating, all sorts of things to allow you to be like one-on-one with me, to be in a coaching scenario effectively for like super great value, super great prices. So founding members get access to this at 200 Rand per month. And if you sign up, you lock in that subscription price up until the day when you cancel. Okay, so any future price increases will not affect you. You will lock it in at 200 Rand per month. If you miss it, however, today, that's okay. You still get to lock it in at 250 per month instead of 200 Rand per month. And the sooner you sign up, the lower the price is that you will be able to sign up at, because we will gradually be increasing that price as we go. Okay, so make sure you access that. If, however, you just want to pick and choose and you don't want to subscribe for a specific period of time, you just want to access the webinars as and when it's necessary for you, you can purchase the webinar, come attend the webinar live, that's also fine, for 200 Rand, but you won't get access to the coaching session. Okay. Also, if you don't make it today as a founding member, for August onwards, you will be able to access the other resources, the June and July webinars, the ones that are currently available for free, you'll be able to access at 150 Rand each. Okay, so it's a lot of stuff happening and we will share some more information in the comments and just send you out onto our website where you can get a little bit more information about each of these things. Okay, so I think that was everything that I wanted to share about the Training Academy. If you do have any questions, please pop it in the chat. We would be happy to oblige and answer any of your questions. And I think and I trust that that is enough incentive for you to sign up for our Training Academy, because it's really all about equipping you as a business owner to make sure that you are able to make good quality financial decisions. And these subscriptions can easily go for like 2,000 Rand a month. Okay, I'm giving that to you at a fraction of the price. So make sure you capitalize and get your butt in gear there. Okay, so now you probably want to know what's happening next week. So next week, I'm going to be expanding a little bit more on this concept of making sure you are staying focused on the right things in your business. And Michael Hyatt has this tool which he calls the Freedom Compass, which I will be talking through with you and help you to start. We've already got some routines in place maybe, and maybe you've even got some goals, but we need to make sure that you are focusing on the right things in your business and getting rid of the rest. So we will be doing that next week. Same time, same place, Friday, 1 p.m. And we will be super excited to engage with you as always. And yeah, I really look forward to seeing you at any of our live webinars that are happening. And on Instagram, remember, we'll be talking about email, getting rid of that email monster. So do come check us out next week, Thursday at 1 p.m. Okay, I think that is everything from me for now. It was lovely having you on the call. I hope you have a beautiful weekend and make sure you're unlocking your potential one interaction at a time. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.